Walk us through that journey in the firm to purchasing the firm, at least from the high level.
The person I purchased this firm from dropped the bomb that he wanted to be a prosecutor. That was his lifelong dream. So he asked me, would you be interested in purchasing my firm? We started the conversation, and about 2 months later, after we did due diligence, after I did all the money looking at it, I really should have hired somebody to value that because that was dumb. Doing it by myself when I really don't know what I'm looking at. I would advise any person that is buying any business to hire a independent third person to look at that, because you're thinking emotionally, you're not thinking logically. The person can bring you back to ground and say, that amount of money that you're trying to pay is too damn much. Or, hey, you should offer some more because the business actually has really good capital inside the area and people know the business. So if you're going to keep the same name, great. But as we know, law firms are routinely named after the people who own the firm. So I did the simple thing, named it after myself. Now we're looking at changing the name and turning it into a trade name. And that is solely for the purpose of helping us build a brand. I don't want the brand to be me. I want the brand to be its own thing.
When I bought my first business, I was 25 years old. I bought it from my uncle. We came up with the price together. I think he was generating about $350,000 a year in sales. And I think we came up with a price somewhere around $400,000. And I'm not sure exactly how we came up with that price. The logic made sense at the time. And of course, he held all of the paper. I didn't have to really put any money down. And the moment I bought the business, my income went up. And so all good things happened. But at some point, I rebelled, as young people do. I accused him of selling the business to me at too high a price because I learned about business valuation. But by making that leap and purchasing that business, I learned a whole bunch. I made a whole bunch of money, and it gave me the opportunity to do what I do today. When MPS bought 50% of our business last year, we went and had the business appraised. Having lived that story, I didn't want him to feel like he was getting the wool pulled over his eyes. I assumed that valuation process was important.
But yeah, it's important, and it also gives you a party to offer different perspective on different sides of the business and things to consider. How much did you get paid? Deal structure. I think an independent third party is an important part of the business acquisition or buying process for sure. I'm happy we did it.
It's a great lesson for anybody listening.
You made the transition. You guys found the number. You went for it. What was the first year owning the firm?
The first year was extremely stressful. I met my wife around the time I purchased the business. I said, look, I'm going to purchase a law firm. And she looked at me like nuts. And that would be the appropriate response if you didn't know any better about the person. But I've always been a person that's not risk averse, willing to jump in and figure it out. And that's essentially what I did. I wish I had done more due diligence on the front end like you guys did in your deal. If I had a third party tell me, hey, you're paying too much or you're not paying enough, that would have been good information. That's like the old adage we have in the law where you as a lawyer have yourself as a client and you have a fool for a client. The same is true in business. If you're trying to buy or sell a business, you shouldn't be the one that is buying or selling it alone. Have somebody else appraise it. I think any person that either purchases or starts a law firm is going to realize that there's going to be things that were really good about that business and there are going to be things that are really bad about that business. I started digging into the books, our case files, and I found mess after mess to try to fix and clean up. I came in, I looked at the database that we had, and I looked at every single file, saw where we were, made notes, prioritized high, mid, low, no priority cases, and started working from, most important, at least transitioning from one lawyer to another is also difficult because you're going to lose clients. We sent letters to every client of Joe's when I purchased the business. We had 3 people go with different lawyers out of over 300 cases at the time. That's a good retention rate, but nobody knew me. These were all new people. I was a new lawyer. So that's a lot of trust in somebody that hasn't done this work for a couple of years.
When you made this decision, and I'm trying to speak to the person out there that might be thinking about buying in somebody else's practice, do you think you were happy that you bought the business and everything that taught you and you learned? Or you would have been better off taking that energy, effort, and money and just building a new practice?
I've thought about that a lot. The beauty and the drawback of buying a firm is that you take what you get, which means you get all of the beautiful parts of the firm and all the lipstick on a pig parts of the firm too.
Good outweighed the bad. Even though the bad was there, maybe you learned from it, grew from it. It taught you what not to do, if anything. You became a better business owner because of it.
I had no experience in business of my own before I bought this firm. I don't think a lot of lawyers have business experience before they get into the business. You are not only a lawyer, you are a business owner. And you have to remember that both of those things have different hats that you're wearing.